All right, folks, we're up here in Big Bear, Arrowhead, and we're going to be going up these twisties here, all these twisties right here, and we're going to be talking to you about the latest news. Let's go take a look over the cliff here. Extremely windy up here. Let's close the visor, less wind. Look at God's creation. Just amazing. So, we are going to be on the Kawasaki Z1000. We're going to be talking about the Shock of God challenge. The Democrats fail to impeach Donald Trump. Let's get going. And we're going to be talking to you about different atheists we've been talking to, different random things, and coronavirus. So, did you guys hear about the coronavirus? It was, hold on, it was caused by some guy, they say, I've been getting some conflicting information, that went to a illegal seafood restaurant, and I guess they were selling exotic animals, and he bought a bat. I guess he was going to make bat soup. And don't you just love when people make bat soup and you put it in the pot and it's so tender it just falls off the bone? Don't you just love it? So we are up here going to Arrowhead, which is a very expensive, classy area where a lot of rich people live. They come up here to basically get away from the smog. Fresh air up here, and just very cold right now, believe it or not. It's supposed to have rain coming in. But anyways, so we got the coronavirus thing happening, and it's just bizarre how weird this world is. You know, Scripture says in Revelation that different plagues will be attacking the earth. It actually says that God pours out these different plagues in Revelation. I did a video on the Antichrist and who is the Antichrist, and do you have friends that are of the Antichrist spirit even? And getting a lot of compliments on it. So look right below here for that video. It's a Bible study video, just me reading the Bible as we go through it. Now, another thing too, you know, a lot of people have been saying that the Atheist Experience show still has not answered the Shock of God challenge. You know, we've had our little rivalry for like 11 years, going on 12, and the Atheist Experience show still cannot defeat the Shock of God challenge. Let's see what this says here. So we're going to go straight. So, but I was watching this video. I'm going to see if I can find it and put it right below here, okay? I'm going to put it on debatesonvideo.blogspot.com. And the host of the Atheist Experience show, Matt Dillahunty, is cussing out his parents and using just the most vile, filthy anger at his parents. Now, Matt Dillahunty's parents are Christian, right? And if you're a Christian, you'd be sad that your son's mentally insane and is an atheist. I have compassion for Matt Dillahunty's parents. But anyways, Matt Dillahunty did this video where he talks about how it was his birthday, and he's all angry at his parents because they're talking to him about God and how foolish atheism is. I believe at one point, Matt's mother said, you know, there's a guy on YouTube, ShockofGod, and he even is asking you, what proof and evidence do you have that would finally at last prove atheism is accurate and correct? And Matt's own mother said, you know, you need to answer it. No, I'm just kidding. She could have. We don't have any evidence that his mom did not say it. So anyways, you've got to see this video where now I know why Matt Dillahunty's an atheist. He's got issues from his childhood that he hasn't got over. I mean, when you watch this video, he looks like a pouting little baby. Listen, I pray for Matt Dillahunty because when he stands before God, God's going to say, so many people were warning you, and even ShockofGod said you had no proof and evidence that atheism is accurate and correct. I bet you, if I can be so bold, I bet you that when Matt Dillahunty stands before God, God possibly may say, Matt, I got to send you to hell because, that is unless he repents, because you have no proof and evidence that atheism is accurate and correct. Even ShockofGod was basically begging your show for over 11 years just to answer the simple ShockofGod question. And Matt, you didn't do it. And then God's going to look at Matt Dillahunty and say, I lack a belief that you were ever a Christian. And unfortunately, Matt Dillahunty goes to hell. It's just sad. You know, if you're an atheist, I am challenging you in love to answer the ShockofGod challenge on video. You know the challenge. What proof and evidence can you provide that would finally at last prove that atheism is accurate and correct? Just answer that question. No atheist has been able to do it. I'm going to put the links right below here, and you'll notice that Matt Dillahunty was not able to answer the ShockofGod challenge for 11 years. There's videos out there saying he did, but whenever I go to look at the video, it's the same video where he's saying he's not going to answer it. So saying you're not going to answer the ShockofGod challenge is not answering the ShockofGod challenge. So one last time, here's the challenge. What proof and evidence can you provide that would finally at last prove that atheism is accurate and correct? But the atheist will never be able to answer the ShockofGod challenge. Okay, what is this here? Big Bear Lake. Let's go this way. Oh, wait a minute. No, we got to go this way. I think this is where we're going. There's a lake over this way, but let's stay on the straight and narrow path here, which isn't straight and narrow, but the straight path that we're going to. Now, back to, so we talked about that. You've got to see that video right below here. I'm going to put it there. It'll be on debatesonvideo.blogspot.com, where Matt Dillahunty goes mental and cusses his own parents out. Yes, breaking the commandment, honor your mother and father. There is no commandment that these atheists don't want to break. Now, this is just absolutely stunning. Beautiful. Now let's talk about the impeachment. Or they tried to impeach and get rid of Trump. They're not going to be able to get rid of him. So basically, you had Romney and Lamar Alexander and two other Republicans that are more like liberal. They call them moderate, but they're really liberal. And of course, they didn't want to just acquit Donald Trump just yet. And it is so cold right here. Oh my gosh. And can't wait for the sun. And then Romney, who's very jealous of Donald Trump because Trump won and Romney didn't. You know, when Romney ran against Obama, people don't want a member of a non-Christian cult, Mormonism, as a Republican candidate. We just don't want that. Anyways, there it is, Lake Arrowhead left. So I'm going to show you this hustling and bustling place down here. There's a McDonald's that's actually on the lake, and you pull your boat right up to it. Pretty cool. Let's see if this person's going to change their mind and go straight. No. I should have went that way. Well, taking you to Big Bear Lake instead. We'll do a complete turnaround. I'll show you that. So Romney basically begged Trump, I think it was for the Secretary of State job, and Trump didn't give it to him, and then Romney pouted, well, I'm not going to vote for you then, like a little Mormon little girl. And see what this is. Arrowhead Village Road. We'll keep going. Good to come up here, get rid of the smog from your lungs in the Los Angeles city. And so Romney said, well, I'm going to vote for more witnesses. They wanted more witnesses. He just really, nothing would make Romney happier than to get rid of Trump, because he's so jealous of Trump. I think that's the lake right there. Take a look to your right. Let's see. No, not yet. So Romney said, well, I'm going to vote that I want to hear witnesses. Now here's where Romney messed up. Lamar Alexander and this other woman, they already said, no, we're not going to keep dragging this thing on. There's nothing against Trump. And so Romney's out to lunch. Even if he voted for witnesses, his vote is still just going to be overruled by a majority of people saying enough is enough, the Democrats have nothing. So Romney could have came out and said, look, there's nothing here, and he could have redeemed himself back to the Republican Party. Romney just needs to flip over to the Democrats, because he walks like a Democrat, he talks like a Democrat, he wants to vote like a Democrat. It must be a Democrat. What is this right here? Okay, so we're going to go to Arrowhead. That's where we're going to go, this place here. See what Sky Park is. Really know where to turn around. Oh, wait a minute. I can't turn around. Let's go right here. So anyways, now Romney's out to lunch because... Don't do it. Now Romney's out to lunch because the Republicans are not going to vote, and even I believe some Democrats possibly are not going to vote for witnesses. So it looks like Trump's... This is not the vote on impeachment yet, but it seems like the Democrats are voting party line and the Republicans are voting party line. So we got Arrowhead coming up here to the right. So you see how important it is for us to keep the Senate. Can you imagine if the Senate was Democrat? They would have just impeached. So thank goodness that we have a majority Republican. Here's some perfect reasons why Trump will be reelected. He's pro-Christian. He's pro-American. The Democrats, I don't know how someone could vote Democrat because they're for the killing, the murdering of babies. I don't know how you can do that. If they're a Christian, I mean, if you're an atheist, I can see how that matches your worldview. Okay, so right here down at the bottom is where this, there it is, Arrowhead Villa Road. Let's go right here. Or no. I'm just pulling over here. Is this it? No, I don't think so. So let's talk about some reasons why I believe most atheists are kids. You ever notice that? Most atheists are kids. And I've noticed that the adults, they're more intelligent and they're Christian. So I was thinking, well, of course, because to be a Christian, you have to reason and use common sense. You have to know about science, you know, and hey, Lake Arrowhead 2, we're going to go left here. We're just going to stay left here. But to be an atheist, all you got to do is say, I lack a belief. Now, remember what we said, when atheists say they lack a belief, that means they lack any arguments against the existence of God. So, we're now going on February, and so far, not one atheist has been able to conquer the Shock of God challenge. Not even one. What we're doing, guys, is every month we're going through the Shock of God challenge. I noticed there are some atheists on Reddit that have failed the Shock of God challenge, but they're all anonymous, so I can't really give you names of them. But basically they were saying that they lack a belief in God, and this sun is blinding. Just what you want to be doing, going down a hill, twisty hill with the sun blinding you. Now, I have a drop-down visor in my in my helmet. I don't know if you can see it. Let me show you. See how it's kind of like that? And it's not really, really dark, but it helps a little. but not much. Oh, I'll be glad when I'm down there. So anyways, guys, same thing for February. Sorry, nothing to report. The atheists are terrified to try to answer the Shock of God challenge. So it looks like it's going to be one of these people for the Democrat president, either the gay howdy doody, Pete Butt, whatever his name is, Peter Butt, or Pocahontas. No, don't do it. Don't kill me. Thank you. Or Pocahontas, or Hair Plugs Biden. Biden's losing it. He was over in Iowa and he was like, hello, Ohio. He messed up. So we're not going to vote for the gay howdy doody. Can you imagine he would replace Hail to the Chief? You know that one, dun, 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 dun. He would replace it with, in the Navy, you can sail the 7 seas, or like Macho Man by the Village People. No. Can you imagine Pete Buttigieg saying the State of the Union? Well, the State of the Union is pretty queer. Something very queer is going on in the State of the Union. That's what Pete Buttigieg would say. Can you imagine Bernie Sanders? Oh, talk about that. Why do most atheists on YouTube love Bernie Sanders? Well, because he's a communist. Do some research on Bernie Sanders. During the Reagan era, he was running as a communist. And atheists are communists. The whole atheistic worldview is communist. It's certainly sure as hell not American. Look at the atheist communist regimes that killed hundreds of millions of people. Atheists love that. They love that. Rather than try to convince people with reason, they just use brute force. You know the regimes of Stalin, Pol Pot, Mao, the Khmer Rouge, Kim Jong-il? They murdered hundreds and millions of people because the people didn't want to think the way that they thought. I mean, think about it. To be an atheist, you got to be a complete idiot to believe that life comes from non-life. Now, you got to be a atheist, same thing. If you believe life comes from non-life, you have to be an atheist, same thing. Because you can't say God created all life. Look how beautiful that is, that God created. You have to say that non-life created life, because you have to have a first cause. And the first cause must have no need to be created. It must always exist, because there's nothing there prior to the first cause to create the first cause. Follow along with me, atheists. I know it's hard for you to actually stretch your brain muscles. Right now, the atheists, we don't have any muscles in our brain. They're so... You get what I'm talking about. You get what I'm talking about. Sometimes, I was at the pet store today, and I saw a cute little bunny rabbit, and I said to the clerk there, I said, isn't it amazingly stupid how some people believe, atheists, that there was an explosion, and over millions and millions of years, this bunny shot out of it with its cute little ears and little nose. That's what atheists believe. No design. There was just a massive explosion, and Peter Rabbit shot out of the Big Bang explosion. Gee, these atheists are lucky. Go get your dog, Poochie Moochie, or your cat, Felix, and hold them in front of you. Seriously, put them in front of you. The atheists want you to believe there was a massive explosion that was caused by nothing. Nothing did it. There's atheists like Lawrence Krauss that said nothing created the universe. This is how stupid. Seriously, I have absolutely no respect for the atheist worldview. It is the most mentally ill, insane worldview. I have respect for atheists, but not because they're atheists, but because they're created in the image of God. So I have respect that someone's created in the image of God, but I sure as hell don't have respect for atheism. But can you imagine? Go get your dog Poochie Woochie or your cat Felix and hold them in front of you. Are we to believe that there was a massive explosion? And over... It's so funny just saying it, that atheists are trying to do a con job on people and try to convince them of this. This is why the majority of atheists on YouTube are kids, because only a kid would be so gullible to believe that there was a massive explosion over millions and millions of years, billions of years. Peter Rabbit popped out. Gee, we're lucky, just by luck. Or Poochie Woochie popped out. Gee, we're lucky. Or your cat Felix popped out. Gee, we're lucky. This is just insane that atheists think anyone normal that's not mentally ill would believe this. But this is what atheists believe. Look at DNA, which is empirical proof of design. There's not even an argument against DNA being the product of intelligent design. It's a language, and language comes from mind, M-I-N-D. So they want us to believe that there's a massive explosion and this universe is like a god and it created DNA over millions of years. The universe has intelligence to it. One of the dumbest things I ever heard that atheists say, Matt Dillahunty says this all the time, is how nothing created everything. Is so stupid. And I'll say, you know, and they also say that life came from non-life. We have never seen that. We have no evidence of that. We have evidence that life comes from life, but we don't have any evidence that life came from non-life. And so you'll ask these nut job atheists, like on the Atheist Experience show, they're mentally ill. They got lesbians on the show. I mean, if you don't know what sex you are and what you don't know that your breasts are designed by God to feed babies when you've been impregnated by a man, not a woman, how could you teach us about spiritual things when you don't even know, you know, common sense things? Atheist Experience show, if you're listening, let me teach you something. If you have a innie, you're a woman. If you got an outie, you're a man. I mean, it's so simple. But even some of the hosts of the Atheist Experience show don't even know what sex they are. And yet, you're going to call up, some of you young kids, you're going to call up the Atheist Experience show and think you're going to get wisdom? You're going to get madness. Absolute madness. So what makes more sense? That life created something that's living, or non-life created something that's living? We've never seen life come from non-life. Not even once have we seen it. Oh, nice and warm. Nice and warm. It's so wonderful. Look how beautiful this is. You know, it's great to get a motorcycle. I mean, don't get a motorcycle if you're atheist. That's the dumbest thing you can do, because you're always one breath away from meeting God. And if you're not saved, don't get a motorcycle. That's the dumbest thing you can get. But if you're a Christian and you're saved, it's an awesome feeling. You know, you have the open road. You have I'm downshifting to 5th because we're just kind of like all coasting down this. So you have fresh air, especially up here in Arrowhead. Oh, just so nice. But this is why kids tend to be atheists. You know why? Watch how simple this is. You don't even have to think. I lack a belief in God. That's not even an argument against the existence of God, but you can be lazy and say that. Now, no one's impressed by it because, you know, it's not an argument against God's existence. You know, the wind here is like so strong. It's like hard to keep the motorcycle steady here. Let's go over here. The cops don't like it when you switch lanes, you know, like go from one lane to the other. They kind of want you to stay in one lane. So, folks, we're going on February, and we still have not had any atheist conquer the shock of God challenge. Oh, I gotta tell you something funny. You know, I sold one of my motorcycles, and this motorcycle, it was very, very fast. It was a Yamaha R1. I don't know if you've ever ridden a Yamaha R1. They're like 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. I'm like blowing all over the place. And like 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. Oh, but I want to show you something. Watch. I go from this part, and then I go outside, inside, and then I just kind of hug the inside thing. But anyways, so the guy told me that he was going on the freeway, and he was going really, really fast, and he went to put the brake on, the front brake, because he was following way too close and all the traffic was stopping, and the whole back of the bike, he didn't crash, but the whole back of the bike was going like that. See, what happens with these motorcycles, you can't really follow that close. Like, you can't, unless you have anti-lock brakes, you can't stop as well as you can on a vehicle, like on a four-wheel vehicle. You really gotta, like, you know, keep your distance and stuff. So I am so looking forward to the next debate where Trump debates whoever. It's going to be so fun to watch. So I'm up in 6th gear now. We're just coasting, going about 60 down the hill. But can you imagine when Trump wins again? Oh my gosh, these liberals are going to be like on suicide watch. And they're saying Trump's going to win because, just looking up ahead here, I thought I saw a flashing light. They said Trump's going to win because for example, the black vote, the job approval of our black brothers and sisters, it went up like 20%. They said people are doing better under Trump than Obama. Well, I don't think that's a skin issue, of course, but I think it's a worldview issue. Trump's a capitalist. Obama's a socialist. So I was looking like the #1 most subscribed. See that cop right there on our left? Good thing I wasn't like flying down. The #1 most subscribed to Atheist on YouTube, the amazingly hellbound Atheist. He is supporting Bernie Sanders. I'm telling you, these atheists love themselves some communists. One of the things that these communists do, like these Bernie Sanders types, they stir up strife amongst people. Like, they'll say, these corporations are making all this money, but look at the homeless people. Well, how are those two things even linked? Certainly you're not saying we should get money from the corporation and just hand it to the homeless person and not have that homeless person create a product or service or do something for society. I'll tell you one of the issues about why there's homeless issues. These homeless, because you know, I do Christian outreach and I talk to the homeless, and there's something that no one talks about, which has nothing to do with drugs, even though a lot of them do take drugs. It has nothing to do with alcoholism. It has nothing to do with laziness, you know, or anything like that. Okay, what it is, most of them, okay, not all of them, but I would say like 80% that I talk to at least, have criminal background. Either they were arrested for possession, you know, when I say possession, I mean of drugs. They have like restraining orders on them. They have different things, and this prohibits them from getting a job, because you know how you go get a job, they do your whole live scan background check. Plus, a lot of places will want drug tests. But the minute they see that this person was arrested before, even if it's like a long time ago, even if the person has turned their lives around, the minute they see that the person's been arrested before, they're out of the hiring job pool. So this is something that we can do maybe politically, is these people that have been arrested before and they've been clean and sober and haven't done any other criminal activities. Hopefully we have a way where we could give them some type of job. Warehouse jobs or something like that. Oh my goodness, really? 30 miles per hour? So if you guys can click share below this video and send this to an atheist, because they're like scared to answer the Shock of God challenge. I think because I always say, and don't come back with the limp-wristed, and I do this with my wrist, limp-wristed. Oh, it's so warm right here. Don't come back with a limp-wristed response that you lack a belief, because that's not answering the question. I'm not asking your opinion on something. I'm saying, excuse me, provide proof and evidence that would finally at last prove that atheism is accurate and correct. That's what I'm saying. That sun is blazing, I'm telling you. You know the question, what proof and evidence can you provide that would finally at last prove that atheism is accurate and correct? So I tell them, don't come back with the limp-wristed, I lack a belief. Don't come back with that, because that's not answering the question. The question is, what proof and evidence can you provide that would finally at last prove that atheism is accurate and correct? So God bless you guys. It is going to be a blast when we see Trump debate whoever he's going to debate. I'm so looking forward to that. It's going to be awesome.